seek support from a country like China. In one of your headline-making stories, Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna MP Namal Rajapaksa said that President Ranil Wickremesinghe should understand how to work with an alliance. He said that blaming the SLPP for government flaws and crediting another faction is a move that is completely unacceptable. He was responding to questions raised over the recent cabinet reshuffle. Twenty houses in the Vallavaya Divisional Secretariat were inundated last night after the Kirindi Oya overflowed. Assistant Director of the Monoragala District Disaster Management Centre, A.H. Ravindra Kumaro, said the water levels have now receded.
Houses in Nugayaya and Buduruagala were inundated due to the flood situation in the area. News First correspondent reported that 20 families were displaced. The Monoragala District Disaster Management Centre has taken steps to direct the displaced families to safe camps. Sluice gates of the Bandagiri Reservoir have been opened due to the overflowing of the Malala Ara Reservoir in Hambantota. News First correspondent reported that the paddy fields in Palle Malala, Udamalala and Valigatha, located on either side of the Colombo-Katharagama main road, have been inundated. About 100 acres of paddy fields were inundated. This has destroyed the crops as well. The water level of the Baddegama gauge of the Gin River was at 3.2 meters this morning. The water level stood at 3.8 meters. Vehicular movement along the Malimbada Kadduwa Road and Kamarupite Road in Mathura was hampered due to the overflowing of the Nilwala River. Students travelling to school were seriously inconvenienced due to this. The Malimbada Vallathota Road was flooded as well. News First correspondent reported that roads in Narangala, Thalgahagoda, Katuangoda, Kadduwa and Vallathota and low-lying areas have been inundated. By roads in Dangedara Gaul were inundated. Several roads in Gaul were flooded due to the overflowing of the Holuwagoda Canal. News First correspondent reported that roads in Labuduwa, Godakanda Kurunda, Thotagoda and Naravala remain inundated. Several houses in Holuwagoda were inundated. A house in Pahalamapalagama in Uvaparanagama was destroyed. However, no fatalities were reported. 3 sluice gates of the Polgola Dam were opened as well. The Met Department predicts that showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the most provinces of Sri Lanka after 1 p.m. Fairly heavy showers, about 50 millimeters, are likely at some places in the Sabaragamu province and in the Gaul and Mathura districts. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. Showers or thunder showers will also occur at a few places in the sea areas of the coast extending from Puttalam to Gaul via Colombo.
People living in the rural areas of Ampara in the country's east continue to be negatively impacted by the perennial human-elephant conflict.
Bandaradua in Uhana, Ampara is a village that often faces the threat of encroaching wild elephants. An elephant that encroached on the village last week caused severe damage to a house. Although the issue was addressed with the relevant authorities, the villagers say no favourable action was taken. Though the construction of an electric fence commenced, the project has been suspended. The only request from the people of this village is that the electric fence be completed to protect them from the threat of wild elephants.
News First with the people.
Well, look back at a story that we brought you earlier. Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna MP Namal Rajapaksa stated that President Ranil Wickremesinghe should understand how to work with an alliance. He said that blaming the SLPP for government flaws and crediting another faction is a move that is completely unacceptable. He was responding to questions raised over the recent cabinet reshuffle.
In a coalition government, decisions must be made following discussions with the party leaders that form the government. Many in the SLPP, including its General Secretary, opine that certain decisions made in the recent past did not reflect the views or opinions of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. I believe that attempt is to show there is an issue between the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna based on these incidents. We have no issues with the coalition parties. We believe that the need is to implement a program that would uplift the economy of the people of this country. Changing the heads and positions will not solve that issue.
කරන්න ඕනේ මේ ඔලුගෙඩි මාරු කරාට තනතුරු මාරු කරගත්තාට ඒ ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳෙන්නේ නැහැ.
අපි දැක්ක එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් සඳහන් කරනවා මේක මේ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට මම හිතන්නේ පොජ්ජන පෙරමුණේ අය මේ කවුරුත් අඬ ගහලා එහෙම කලබලේ අනේ එන්නෝ කියලාද අඬ ගහලා මේ රට වෙලා තියෙන අර්බුදයෙන් ගලව ගන්න කියලා තමයි දුන්නේ කියලා තමයි එතුමන්ලා කියන්නේ. හැබැයි ඒක පොජ්ජන පෙරමුණට මොනතරම් බලපෑමක් ඇති වෙනවද ඒ තාත්තා?
අපි රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට පමණක් නෙවෙයි.
We not only invited Ranil Wickremesinghe, we also invited Sajith Premadasa when the issues arose. We even extended invitations to Sarath Fonseca and Anura Kumar Dissanayake. It was Ranil Wickremesinghe who accepted this task. We have to respect him for that. However, as a seasoned politician, he too needs to understand how to deal with coalition parties in unity and with discussions. I do not need to advise him, as he engaged in politics with my father. During the government of good governance, we witnessed a tug of war. In the end, it was the country that suffered. It even led to political instability. It led to a threat to national security and the national economy. Seasoned leaders must understand how coalition governments work and engage in discussions. The electricity tariff has increased, the tax burden has increased, and water tariff has also increased. There is a call for more taxes while the cost of living is increasing. These allegations are directed to the SLPP government. However, on the other hand, decisions are made without consulting the other parties. If those decisions bear fruit, the credit goes to another faction, and if they go wrong, the blame goes to the SLPP. I do not consider what happened as a cabinet reshuffle. I consider it as an exchange of cabinet positions. The president has a right to do that. The government also has a duty to speak about this with the other coalition parties. If the president and government officials assume that these issues can be solved by changing positions, they are wrong. A budget is expected, and we believe the president would introduce a relief program in the budget.
අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා ජනාධිපතිතුමා මේ රටේ ජනතාවට සහන දෙන වැඩපිළිවෙලක් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරයි.
දැන් ආසන්න වශයෙන් මිල වැඩි වුණේ විදුලියේ. දැන් ජනතාවගේ මතයක් තියෙනවා ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොජ්ජන පෙරමුණ මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයා ඇතුළු ඔබතුමන්ලාත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කළා තමයි මේ තීරණ ගන්න කියලා. මේක ඇත්ත තත්ත්වයක් තියෙනවා.
නේද ජනාධිපතිතුමා පැහැදිලිව කියනවා IMF එකත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා.
The president made it clear that the electricity tariff was increased following talks with the IMF and not with the coalition parties. If political decisions are made following talks with the IMF, that is the process of that government. However, it impacts the people of this country. As a responsible political party, we need to make sacrifices to bring about political stability. The benefits of those sacrifices must be for the people. The SLPP is ever ready to make those sacrifices. However, if there is injustice on the people and the supporters, the SLPP General Secretary also has a duty to raise concerns.
අසාධාරණයක් වෙනවා පක්ෂයක් විතර පක්ෂයේ මහලේකම්වරටත් වගකීමක් වෙනවා ඒ පිළිබඳව පැහැදිලිව හඬක් නගන්න.
ජනාධිපතිතුමා හම්බෙලා මේ ගැන කියන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවද මන්ත්‍රීකම්?
මම හිතන්නේ විශේෂයෙන්ම මන්ත්‍රීකම්.
The SLPP parliamentary group should reach a decision, and the party must also reach a decision. However, when the budget comes, we will look at it and thereafter reach a decision as a party.
ශක්‍ර තීන්දුවක් ගමු.
දැන් විපක්ෂයෙන් කියන්නේ අයවැයේදී ඔබතුමාට තීන්දුවක් ගන්න පුළුවන් මේ වෙන දේවල් වලට කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ අත උස්සලා විරෝධය පළ කරලා මේක ඉවර කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ක්ලේම් කරන්න ලෑස්තිද?
නෑ පළවෙනි කාරණේ අපි අයවැය තියෙන දේ බලන්න ඕනේ.
We first need to consider the contents in the budget. The policy of the opposition is to oppose everything. Some of the opposition's proposals were implemented by the president, but the opposition opposes it. The IMF was a proposal made by the opposition. Some SJB MPs spoke out in parliament because Gotabaya Rajapaksa did not approach the IMF. They themselves thereafter opposed the IMF. This is not the time to be political opportunists. We need to see what will support the people and stability in the budget. We cannot wait until 2030 to ensure food is provided to the children. We cannot wait until 2048 for development. We will see what will be presented by the President in the upcoming budget.
අපි බලන් ඉන්නවා. ඉතින් ඒ වගේම අයවැය අපි බලන් ඉන්නවා ජනාධිපතිතුමා මොනවද ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න කියලා.
The State and Provincial Public Services Trade Union Alliance distributed pamphlets to spread awareness about several concerns, including salary issues, opposite the Setsiri Pier.
The State and Provincial Public Services Trade Union Alliance demanded the government for a salary increment of 20,000 rupees via the 2024 budget.
රාජ්‍ය සේවකයන්ට ලැබෙන වැටුප අද බිල් ටික ගෙව්වාම
The state sector employees are left with nothing after settling their bills. The President is set to present the 2024 budget on November 13th. We demand a salary increment of 20,000 rupees. If not, we will launch a second අරගලය.
දෙවනි අරගලය පටන් ගන්නේ 13 වෙනිදා කියන එක අපි ආණ්ඩුවට කියනවා.
More than 700 Palestinians were killed in overnight Israeli air raids on Gaza, according to Palestinian officials, the highest 24-hour death toll since the conflict began earlier this month. The Hamas-run Ministry of Health in Gaza said that hospitals in the Gaza Strip have completely collapsed.
According to foreign media, the Hamas-run Ministry of Health in Gaza has put out a statement on Telegram saying that hospitals in the Gaza Strip have completely collapsed. It also warned that, quote, hospital doors remaining open does not mean that they are providing service to the flood of wounded people, end quote. The statement added a plea for the international community to supply hospitals with fuel, to send specialized medical delegations to rescue those wounded in the Israeli aggression, and call for all retired colleagues and volunteers from all specialities to join hospitals immediately. Some 8 trucks arrived in Gaza late yesterday carrying water, food and medicine. But US President Joe Biden said that humanitarian aid has not been arriving quickly enough. Israel has continued its heavy bombing of Gaza. The Hamas-run health ministry says almost 5,800 people have been killed since 7th of October. More than 1,400 were killed in the attacks on Israel by Hamas gunmen who raided communities near the border targeting civilians. At least 5,791 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks on Gaza. Secretary General of the United Nations Antonio Guterres said he is, quote, deeply concerned about the clear violations of international humanitarian law that we are witnessing in Gaza, end quote. Guterres said, quote, it is important to also recognize the attacks by Hamas did not happen in a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation, end quote. He also said the grievances of the Palestinian people cannot justify the appalling attacks by Hamas, and those appalling attacks cannot justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people. However, Israeli diplomats responded angrily after Guterres also suggested that Hamas' attack on Israel did not happen in a vacuum.
A look back at your local news. The government's order to mandate the retirement of individuals aged above 60 years in 4 grades of the Sri Lanka nursing services was quashed by the Court of Appeal. Venerable Muruthettuwe Ananda Thero, the chair of the Public Service United Nurses Union, commented on this ruling. The government issued a circular stating that you are not eligible to work beyond a certain age. Health services is an essential service. You cannot deploy staff rapidly as well. There is a training period of 3 years and wait for a year for the appointment order. That is how it works. As a result, we made a request to the former health minister not to enact the decision on forced retirement. If you do so, the impact will be on the patients. However, he did not listen to us. So the courts, by considering this, have increased the age limit to 63 years. We have clarified the shortcomings with both former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Keheliya Rambukwella and informed that this needs to be fixed. If Keheliya Rambukwella had listened to us, he would never face a situation of leaving his post.
ඒව හරියට තේරුම් ගත්තා නම් කෙහෙලිය රමුක්කල් ඇමතුමාත් ඔය පුටුවෙන් කවදාකවත් මෙරෙපෙන්නේ නැහැ.
Public Service United Nurses Union says issues that emerged in the health sector have not been resolved yet.
We do not have any positive thoughts about the health minister or about the changes happening in the health ministry. All of them are from the same group. We have no hope that someone from that same group will come in and restore this health service.
Meanwhile, the Executive Council of the Government Medical Officers Association is expected to convene today to decide on matters pertaining to crisis in the health service. The spokesperson for the GMOA, Dr. Chamil Vijay Singh, has said that the shortage of doctors and medicine will be discussed. However, Director General of Trade Unions to President Ranil Wickremesinghe, Saman Ratnapriya, says the health service provided in the country is in par with the cost.
There's also a shortage of medicine, there's a shortage of surgical equipment, also there's a shortage of medical equipment. There are shortcomings in the management. Despite this overall situation, Sri Lanka has a health service with good indicators. So some politicians are trying to gain political benefits.
Shifting your attention to sports news, Sri Lanka's Samitha Dulan won silver in the men's javelin F64 event at the Asian Para Games in Hangzhou, China on Wednesday. The Asian Para Games 2023 is taking place in Hangzhou, the People's Republic of China. Samitha Dulan won silver in the men's javelin F64 event, recording a distance of 64.9 meters.
The official ICC Men's Cricket World Cup India 2023.
Australia and Netherlands will face off in the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023 at the Arun Jaitley Stadium in Delhi on Wednesday. The match between Australia and Netherlands is the 24th game in the ICC Cricket World Cup. Australia are currently placed 4th in the points table, winning 2 out of the 4 games played in the tournament thus far. Netherlands, on the other hand, have registered a solitary win over South Africa in as many as 4 games they have played thus far. The Dutch are currently placed 7th in the points table. The two sides have featured in 2 ODI matches prior to this, where Australia have emerged victorious on both the occasions. Today's match is scheduled to commence at 2 p.m. Sri Lankan time. Cricket fans can watch and listen to all the action of the World Cup via the MTV MBC networks, the official local broadcast rights holder of the tournament. The matches are being streamed live on www.sirasatv.lk. From that, we bring to a close this edition of Lunchtime News on TV1. For details of the stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk.